Evolution changes over time. Look around you. There are so many different species of organisms out there. The variety of organisms that inhabit our planet is called diversity. Have you ever wondered how an organism can look and the same but completely different? What causes an organism over time? Evolution is a gradual change in the species over time. It is the ability of an organism to use its characteristics to help it to survive and reproduce. When an organism does this, it allows it to be able to pass its traits on to the next generation. The man who figured out how evolution works is Charles Darwin. He was a British naturalist that ventures out in the Galapagos Island. And while there, observed finches that were similar to the one another yet very different. He came up with the theory of evolution, which we still use today, and to describe how we get variation among organisms. A variation is different. It's just a difference we see between organisms of the same species. Plants, animals, and organisms have special features called adaptation. An adaptation is a behavior or physical characteristics that allows an organism to survive and reproduce in its own environment. Adaptations arise from mutation. Mutations are a result of a change in the DNA of an organism. It would be similar to writing your name 100 times. Chances will you make a mistake or two. When the DNA of the cell makes a copy of itself, sometimes mistakes are made, and voila, mutation. So let's just say a moth is born with a mutation that changes its color from white to brown. If the moth lands on a tree trunk, it will blend in with all the surrounding. This is an adaptation that allows it to survive. If the same moth were to land on the green leaf, do you think this adaptation of being brown will allow it to survive there? Natural selection is what drives a mutation. It is a process by individuals that are better adapted to their environment are most likely to survive and reproduce than others that are not. So our brown moth, because it is adapted to survive in its environment, will have a better chance of passing our genes on its genes to its children. That's natural selection or survival of the fittest. The fittest organism survive to live a long life and reproduce. To be fit, you must be fit your environment, i.e., you're well adapted. When the entire population of the species die off, we call it extinction. Dinosaurs went extinct millions of years ago. In fact, 99% of all organisms that have ever lived on Earth are now extinct. Everything we know about them we get from their fossils. The prevent remains or traces of an organism that lived in the past. Sometimes we can piece together the history of organisms by looking at their fossils. Oftentimes, there will be a gap in the fossil record. We call these missing links. When there is a missing link, we can figure out how organisms are related by looking at their homologous structure. A homologous structure is a physical characteristic that demonstrates that certain species are related and have a common ancestor. Bird's wing, dolphin fins, the human arm, and the dog leg have very similar bone structure because they are all composed in humerus, radius, and ulna. We can estimate the age of fossils by using a process called radioactive dating. The process allows scientists to look at the half-life of chemicals contained in the rock surrounding a fossil or contained within the fossil itself to determine the estimate age of the fossil or rock. Earth is 4.6 billion years ago old, and in that time, a variety of organisms have lived and died on the planet. Fossils allows us to create a picture of the diversity of life that has extincted on Earth.